Marlena Cork. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Phil.
We are continuing such a great series on how to choose a right career for you. We've got all these different episodes, and people at home, if you're listening, you need to go back and listen to them because it is very much a stepwise process. It's absolutely brilliant. Today, we're at the point in the process where you've done your self-assessment, you've identified must-haves, you've done some research into like, hey, what do you think I should do for a career? Asking friends and family, all sorts of cool stuff. And now it's time to get into the nitty-gritty and actually research specific jobs into what they do day to day. Marlena, why is this step so important?
Well, first off, it gives you the opportunity to really understand what industry you're getting into. You want to take a look at the labor market information, and there's several different websites and links you can research that information on. But it helps you dig in a little deeper, especially if you're going into a certain industry. What does that day-to-day job look like? Possibly what hours, what type of technology and skill set you're going to need. And this, again, brings that whole intentionality back as far as your job searching and not just looking at, that pays $80,000 a year and I can work remote. No, what are you going to do every day?
It also really forces you to dig into what exactly it is you're going to be doing. Because you can say, I want to become a nurse.
Yes.
But if you don't know exactly what the day-to-day is, you can go into that and spend a lot of time, a lot of school, a lot of money. And then when you actually get into the day-to-day details, the tasks and what every day looks like, that might not be your jam. I get that all the time in marketing because on the outside, it's like, well, man, I want to go into marketing. You get to record podcasts and take photos and stuff. When that's 5% of the job, the back end of the job, the creating the emails and website updating and
all
scheduling, all the legwork, that might not be for you. You might want to record a podcast, very cool, but that might be more of a hobby than a career, and you don't know that unless you really dig into some research. So maybe tell me, at this point, what are some ways that people can go about really finding out what their day-to-day tasks will be in a given job?
Well, as we mentioned in one of the previous episodes, there's a lot of people in our circles that are in the industries that we're looking to get into. Talk with them. Tap into individuals at that job. Be bold and go in and say, hey, do you offer job shadow opportunities? Think about it. We talk about our workforce development agency. There's a lot of information and individuals that are there that can help you just dig a little deeper. And then I also say, look at the trends. Back years ago, a lot of people went to school to get a degree in English. Well, what can you do with that? And what does that look like later on down the line, 5, 10, maybe even 15 years? So you want to look at something when you're talking about job training, education, all of that. Look into, what does that look like overall? And how can I transfer those skills? So there's so many different avenues. It's not just one that you can look into.
The idea, I love the suggestion to go talk to a person who is doing the job that you want to do.
Yes.
And people be really confident in asking them questions. What do you love most? What do you hate most? Like really dig in because they're going to be honest with you. They've got no skin in the game. They're going to be transparent. They're going to be honest. And if you are still not deterred by what they're doing, that's a good sign for you to say, hey, this could be something that I want to do.
Exactly. I know I initially I wanted to go to school to be an occupational therapist. And I was like, oh my goodness, this is so good. I want to help people. And I was bold and went to one of the local hospitals and said, hey, do you offer job shadow opportunities? And I was actually able to job shadow OT. Do you know I was sick every day? Because you're looking at the different situations with the patients you're working with. I cried. I was nauseated every day. And I was like, nope.
Yeah.
And that was after a week.
Wow.
Can you imagine doing that 40 hours a day, 40 plus?
Nope.
40 plus a week?
Yep.
No.
Yeah, you get to your first week of work after all those years of school thinking, wow, I made a giant mistake. And you don't want to put yourself in that position,
No,
people.
not at all.
I also love your suggestion of looking, especially if you're in high school or maybe beginning of college or even after college, and you're starting to think of a new career. Really trying to position yourself by pursuing something that is transferable across different industries.
Yes.
We just talked to Kristen Wenzel, and she brought up the idea that IT. Yes, there's IT in different sectors and different kinds of IT, but if you go into some kind of IT related course or career, man, you could have an entire industry's bottom fall out, but you're going to be able to get another job because everybody needs IT. You use the example like an English teacher.
Yes.
Can that transfer? It could, but it's very specialized to I can teach other people English.
Yes.
And so this idea of researching what a job is in its day-to-day, but then also say, well, is that day-to-day skill or that task or that training, can it transfer to other things in case I get there and I don't like it, or we move, my family moves and I have to get a job in a different industry? Can it transfer? Man,
right.
Such a wise move.
Yes, absolutely. And I'm glad you brought up that example, because if you're going into tech or anything like that, you talked about it yourself, even with the podcast. You need someone behind the scenes, cutting, pasting, editing, all of that good stuff. I'm not going to say necessarily the stuff you don't want to do, but you need assistance.
Yep.
And if someone has that skill set, you can use that anywhere. So that's another thing. And then you want to look at the salary. You got to be able to support yourself. You can't live in your mama's basement all the time, forever.
Yep. Yeah, and also I think this dovetails a little bit with the idea of specific tasks and transferability. Also, the idea that this is there some place for me to go after this job, should I choose to pursue that?
Yes.
A lot of people I've talked to in all the interviews I've done, they're very happy in the positions that they are. They want to be a nurse. They have no aspirations at all for administration, but that may not be for you. And so if you're looking at a specific job and then you're looking at its specific tasks, then that also lends itself to thinking about, am I the kind of person that wants to continually advance into being an admin to another position in another company, but I can use this as a springboard into that career? Also thinking about that is so important, because if you're not that person, man, like if you are that person, you could end up putting yourself in a position that you regret 2 or 3 years because you feel stuck.
Exactly. So the one biggest point that I want to get across with all of this is that think about what you're picking up along the way in your career, all the skills, the training, how you're interacting, everything that you're picking up can be used towards that career. And the bottom line is, think about what you want. What's your overall goal? Because you should always reevaluate that as often as you possibly can. And bringing all of this together, researching, looking at what it is you want to do, what does that look like, and is that something you want to do? So.
Yeah, and also connecting it to an earlier episode, and just encouraging people to go back, especially with that self-assessment.
Yes,
is if you are really enamored with, we keep using nursing as an example, and so we'll go with it. You're really enamored with this idea of being a nurse, and then you've researched the specific tasks of a nurse.
Yeah.
And those don't line up with what your self-assessment was. That's a great indication that it doesn't disqualify it completely, but it also is a sign that says, maybe this is not quite the place.
Right. Maybe you need to rethink what you're doing and what you're going into.
Yeah. If my self-assessment, I need predictability, I need the same schedule, doing the same task every single day in the same way, kind of that repetitive nature, because that's something that you want. Going into a healthcare profession, that it's typically the opposite of that. You have all different people coming in with all different needs and reacting to you in all different ways. And yeah, sure, you might clock in, clock out at similar times, but within that, if that doesn't vibe those day-to-day tasks with your self-assessment, that could be
there's a
sign.
missing link somewhere.
Yep. And then at the same time, if you look at those day-to-day tasks and they line up exactly, boom, 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 you know you've got a number 1, number 2, number 3 choice.
Exactly. So, and remember, different stages of your life. You may start off thinking one way, and this is what you want to do. But as you progress, that'll change. So keep that in mind.
Yep. So again, another encouragement to the folks listening, go back on the website, listen to all our past episodes because it really walks you through step by step in how to choose a right career. While you're there, you can find all our past podcasts, all our stories, community info. If you're from outside of the area, we give you a quick little snapshot. Really the greatest way to get a snapshot of the community, though, is dive into those stories because we're all about people here.
Pull the nuggets as you need them.
Yeah. And then while you're there, check out the Hey Bay City job board where any Bay County employer can list their positions. Anybody from anywhere can look at those positions, apply directly if they want, get some more information about how to become employed here in Bay County. We've got a couple more episodes to go in this series, and I'm looking forward to talking with you about those. But for now, Marlena, it has been such a pleasure.
It's always a pleasure, Phil. Thank you.